on, wait, on, should I start over? Okay. Observe a moment of silence in remembrance of those who died on September 11th, 2001. Thank you. Now let us give the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. I am Candace Payne. I'm the chair of the Lewis and Clark County Board of Commissioners. To my left is Tom Rolfe, Commissioner. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Payne.
To his left is Brandi Spangler, who is our recording administrator. And to her left is Jenny Chambers, who is the head of our Public Works Department and our Planning Department. To my right is Andy Hunthausen, another auspicious commissioner, and Nico Hash from the county attorney's office, and of course Roger Balls, who keeps all the wheels turning in the right direction here, the chief administrative officer. I think that's everything I'm supposed to be talking about here. Better check my agenda. Oh, we have a sign-in sheet in the front and some agendas. So if you want to participate, follow along, sign in. And with that, let us commence with the consent action items as presented by Roger Balls.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. There's two items for you to consider today. The first is item 2A, Vendor Claims Report for week ending September 12, 2025. Staff recommends approval of that item. The next item is item 2B, which is Public Meeting Minutes for August 26 and 28 and September 2, 2025. And staff recommends approval of that item as well. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Roger. Is there any comments from the Commission? Seeing none, is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I would entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve consent action items 2A and 2B as explained by Roger Balls.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve consent action items 2A and 2B. Is there any further discussion from the Commission? Seeing none. All those in favor of approving consent action items 2A and 2B signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. On to action items. 3A is Resolution 2025-102 levying an assessment upon customers of the Scratch Gravel Solid Waste Management District owning real property in the district and owing a pay-as-you-throw program charge on August 15th, 2025, be presented by Audra Zacherl. Good morning, Audra.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. I'm Audra Zacherl, Assistant Director of Public Works. Before you this morning is a resolution to levy and assess customers of the Scratch Gravel Solid Waste District that own real property and that owe pay-as-you-throw charges after August 15th, 2025. In accordance with the policy set for the pay-as-you-throw program, statements were mailed to permit holders who had exceeded the 3,000-pound limit for the period July 1st, 2024 through June 30th of 2025. Only those accounts owing $6 or more were mailed, and these charges were due and payable by August 15th, 2025. Submitted with the resolution is Exhibit A, the list of accounts with outstanding charges as of August 15th. Once the resolution is approved, these charges will be placed on the property owner's tax bill. Staff recommends approval of Resolution 2025-102 to levy an assessment upon customers of the Scratch Gravel Solid Waste District owning real property and authorize the chair to sign. And for the public's information, Exhibit A totals $4,402.67 in total.
Thank you, Audra. Any questions from the commission? Okay. Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I would entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve Resolution 2025-102 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve action item 3A, Resolution 2025-102, levying an assessment upon customers of the Scratch Gravel Solid Waste Management District, as presented by Audra Zacherl. Is there any further discussion on this?
Chair Payne, if I might, we people who are in that district put in material, and if they go over their assigned amount, it goes on their taxes. It's something we do every year, and sometimes they pay it ahead of time, but a lot of times they don't. And this just takes care of it, adds to the taxes, so that the county comes out whole on the project.
Thank you, Tom. That was helpful. I'm looking at the amounts in most of these columns are under $100, and I would imagine these people pay their regular assessments, and then these are what they've accidentally, or it's been a little more junk hauled in than they expected. Okay. It has been moved and seconded, and we have discussed it. We've had public comment. Okay. All those in favor of approving Resolution 2025-102 as explained by Audra Zacherl indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next on our agenda. Okay, got to make sure I got the right numbers. This is action item 3B, a resolution 2025-103, levying an assessment upon customers of the Scratch Gravel Solid Waste Management District owning mobile homes as personal property in the district and owing a pay-as-you-throw program charge after August 15th, 2025, to be presented by Audra Zacherl.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Commissioners, again, for the record, my name is Audra Zacherl, Assistant Director of Public Works. Also before you this morning is a resolution to levy and assess customers of the Scratch Gravel Solid Waste District that own mobile homes and that owe pay-as-you-throw charges after August 15th. In accordance with the policy set for the pay-as-you-throw program, statements were mailed to permit holders who had exceeded the 3,000-pound limit for the period July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Only those accounts owing $6 or more were mailed, and these charges were due and payable by August 15th. Submitted with the resolution is Exhibit A, the list of accounts with outstanding charges as of August 15th. Once the resolution that totals $769.73 is approved, these charges will be placed on the mobile home owners' tax bills. Staff recommends approval of Resolution 2025-103, levying an assessment upon customers of the Scratch Gravel Solid Waste District owning mobile homes as personal property, and authorize the chair to sign.
Thank you, Audra. I'm looking at Exhibit A that is attached to this resolution. And on it, there are notations after the names of each individual, and it says there it's a slash and then it says over. What is over?
Thank you for that question, Chair Payne, Commissioners. That is the indication for the transfer station that customer has gone over on their 3,000 pound allowance. And should they're still allowed to return to the transfer station, but they become a cash only customer.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Is there any further questions, Andy?
Chair Payne, just for explanation purposes, this one and the last item for that matter, very normal, customary. We do this every year. And many of these folks likely may be purposely doing this. I mean, they know that it'll be on their taxes, so they don't have to worry about trying to pay, or when they got the notice, some of them may have paid, but a lot of them just let it go to their taxes because it is their normal annual process. And so we see this every year, and it is normal and customary. I just wanted to.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunthausen, that is correct. A lot of people do prefer just to have it on their property taxes. I would like to add with that comment that 8 years ago, the city of Helena took over managing these permits for the county. And back at that time, these resolutions were triple and quadruple the dollar amounts because we didn't have that control. We didn't have that partnership with the city, and we weren't able to stop the customers at the transfer station. So we were able to bring these numbers down, and I think that's a benefit to both the county and the city of Helena and our residents.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. That's interesting history. Tom, do you have anything?
I think it's just explained well. One other thing I guess I would say is the operation real estate is different than personal property, and mobile homes are considered personal property, and that's why the two different resolutions.
Sure. Thank you, Tom. Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I would entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve Resolution 2025-103, levying an assessment upon customers of the Scratch Gravel Solid Waste Management District owning mobile homes as personal property in the district and owing a pay-as-you-throw program charge after August 15th, 2025, as explained by Audra Zacherl.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution 2025-103. Is there any further comment from the commission? Seeing none, then all those in favor of approving resolution 2025-103, levying an assessment upon customers of the Scratch Gravel Solid Waste District owning mobile homes as personal property, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Ooh, and now on to other important matters. Action item 3C is funding commitment update letter to the Montana Disaster and Emergency Services for the Augusta Flood Mitigation Project. Dan Carlin will explain how this works.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. For the record, name is Dan Carlin, County Engineer. In September of 2022, Lewis and Clark County Public Works submitted a grant application to FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, Region 8, as a sub-applicant to the State Disaster and Emergency Services, or DES, grant application for a Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, or HMGP, grant. The proposed project aims to implement flood mitigation measures that will benefit the areas in and around the Augusta community, thereby reducing the impacts of frequent flooding. Recently, 2 projects that were awarded funds from the original HMGP opportunity returned enough of their allocation for the Augusta Flood Mitigation Project to potentially be considered. As a result, DES reached out and encouraged Public Works to update the cost estimate and funding commitment letter for a reevaluation. A primary condition of this grant opportunity is for the benefiting local government agency to provide 25% of the total project cost as matching funds. As such, we are now requesting the Board of County Commissioners provide an updated letter committing matching funds to the grant to equate to 25% of the total project cost. Flood mitigation efforts have not historically been contained within the Public Works budget, but have come from the overall county budget, or in the case of the Helena Valley flood mitigation, recently have come from an RID and an ARPA grant. This project has been included in the Commissioner's Capital Improvement Plan budget since the original application was submitted in 2022. The estimated project cost is $1.7 million, and 25% of the total is $425,000. Before you this morning is a funding commitment letter obligating Lewis and Clark County to supply the local match for the Augusta Flood Mitigation Project. If successful, the county would be committing $425,000. Staff recommends approval to submit the updated funding commitment letter to the state for submission. And I can answer questions you may have. And I've also got an exhibit of a majority of the project there on your screen.
Why don't you go ahead and explain how this exhibit works?
Of course, Chair Payne, Commissioners, what the general layout of the project is, it's a flow redirection berm that starts southwest of the town of Augusta. It connects into Highway 287, US 287. Absolutely. You can see you can follow my cursor there. So it starts over here this is called Station 0+00. That's the beginning. It ties into Highway 435, redirects flow to 287, utilizes 287, and then crosses over that, extends past, and then allows the flow here at the end of the berm at 44 plus 87, so about 4,500 feet later, and it allows the flow to redisperse into the floodplain again. What this achieves is it directs most of the flow around town. It will still allow a small amount down Main Street, but that's the modeling. It indicates that it'll stay contained within Main Street, not onto the properties adjacent to it. There's a couple other minor projects involved with it, but this is the main show here. Main event.
Dan, before you move on, the bridge, we've had some problems with bridges related to flooding. And so does the bridge that crosses 287 as part of this project, will that need to be reconfigured or redone, or is it sufficient to take care of this?
Chair Payne, Commissioners, that's a good question. So when we went through our flood evaluation and modeling of all of these potential projects, that was one of the items that was considered. There's no work anticipated on that bridge. That's an MDT facility. The modeling indicated that upgrading or resizing those bridges didn't have a very large impact on mitigating the floodwaters. So this work is generally north of where that bridge is. So it allows the water to flow under that bridge and around it.
Thank you, Dan. Any question, Tom?
I just really want to take a minute and thank the staff on this project. One of the really great things about the capital improvement project is having money set aside when we know there's something going to be a problem. We've got an opportunity to fix something, but we're waiting for some assistance from the state or the feds to get the full funding. And Roger and the finance staff and public works staff kept this in the budget. And now the opportunity is here to make a difference. And we have the money there. We're not borrowing the money. Got the money set aside to do the match. And just another example of it. And then I really want to thank you for Dan, for your conscientious effort to keep on this, keep looking for ways to get this done. And yet we lucked out because somebody else didn't get their project completed or done in time, and we got maybe some extra money here. We weren't expecting quite this soon, and we're able to do it. So thanks for your conscientious effort, and thanks to the rest of the staff for staying with the reasonable holding of money for projects, saving money for when we do have the funds to complete projects. And this whole way of doing things so we don't have to borrow extra money that this county has done for many years, I'm glad we're continuing it. And I just really appreciate the works of Roger Baltz, the finance staff, the public works staff, working together and making this happen.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Rolfe,
Yeah.
thank you for that. I can't take all the credit. Obviously, Ms. Chambers, Ms. Zacherl, Frank, I don't remember his last name. Finance, I'll just go with finance. They've been all instrumental in making sure this is all possible. So,
I would like to make one additional remark related to Tom's comments. He said we've had the luck to be in a position to take advantage of this. You make your own luck. You did this because somebody had the foresight to think, we should, we're going to have to do this. Let's put some money aside until, so when the opportunity arises, we are there. There are many counties in our state who do not have the advantage of this. And they have expressed to me sometimes they don't see how it is that Lewis and Clark County is always ready. Well, because of the planning efforts we've made. So thanks to all of the people that help us with this. Andy, did you have anything?
Chair Payne, just in an effort to not repeat, I'll just say me too. Agree. Thank you, commissioners. Well said.
Okay. Is there any public comment here? Okay. No public comment. I would entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve the funding update letter to Montana Disaster Emergency Services for the Augusta Flood Mitigation Project as presented by Mr. Carlin.
I'm happy to second that.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve this funding commitment update letter to the Montana Disaster and Emergency Services for the Augusta Flood Mitigation Project. Is there any further comment from the commission? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next, just a second. I have to make sure I get this signed. Item 3D is contract between Lewis and Clark County and KLJ Engineering LLC to be presented by our friend Mr. Dan Carlin. Dan?
good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. Again, for the record, Dan Carlin, County Engineer. In January, Public Works solicited statements of qualifications from engineering firms to provide road on-call services to roster qualified firms in 3 road-related categories. Based on the scoring results, 5 general, 3 geotechnical, and 3 traffic services firms were selected for the roster. KLJ Engineering, LLC, or KLJ, was one of the 3 selected to enter into an on-call contract for traffic services. Before you this morning is a 5-year contract with KLJ for on-call road traffic engineering services. The contract requires the consultant to submit a task order for each task the county requests KLJ to accomplish. The task order will include the scope of work, a detailed outline of key elements, a schedule for completion, and a cost breakdown. Staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners approve the contract with KLJ Engineering LLC for on-call road services and authorize the chair to sign. And if you recall, roughly towards the end of June, we had 8 of these. This is the 9th and final. Had a little bit of an issue with the mailing system, getting everything turned around. So.
Okay, well, that answered my question. Andy, do you have
Sure, Payne.
a question? Or-
Dan, I think you and I know what on-call road services are, but just in case someone who's watching today doesn't understand, like what might we use them for? What is a traffic or
On call.
Absolutely. Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunthausen. So on-call contracts is essentially we have a list of firms submit their qualifications to the county. We have a selection panel that goes through those qualifications and we select a number predetermined that we are going to put on a roster. So what that essentially does is that gets through the first several hurdles of the formal procurement process required by the state of Montana for professional services. Those are all required to be selected based upon qualifications. So that's been completed. So then when we have a project that comes along that we need said services for, we're able to request a detailed scope and a cost estimate of what that work is going to take. And then we can get that moving right away. It speeds up our process tremendously. It saves us a lot of time on going through the quals process and interviews and all of those things for smaller projects that are generally less than $25,000. So
great. Thank you, Chair Payne. Like just one more, if I could.
I was just going to say, this is sort of like what we just got done with. They're preparing for future emergencies. So, okay.
Yeah.
Andy, one more.
Just maybe an example of what a couple of typical projects that we might call on someone like this for.
Right. Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunthausen. So I'll just use a drainage project. Lake Helena Drive, we have some issues there with water flowing into a subdivision that should be remaining closer to Lake Helena Drive. So we have used our on-call contract to select an engineering firm to design those improvements, to improve the drainage in there in a quicker way so we can try to get those improvements on the ground before we have future issues. As you probably know, storm drainage is integral to road work. When you have too much water on a road, it has impacts on the road surface. It tears apart gravel roads. It penetrates into the base of paved roads, and it causes all sorts of problems that cost more money in the long run.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Chair Payne.
Thank you. Tom, do you have anything?
No.
No questions? Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I would entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I move to approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and KLJ Engineering LLC as explained by Dan Carlin.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve this contract between Lewis and Clark County and KLJ Engineering as explained by our chief engineer, Dan Carlin. Is there any further comments from the commission? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Aha, now, item 3A E is the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Preserve, Montana, to be presented by Miss Pam Attardo. Good morning, Pam, and welcome back.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This is a contract. This is the second of 2 workshops that are being funded in part by Lewis and Clark County Historic Preservation. And the first one was a wooden window repair. So anybody who lives in an old house, you'll know about, the cords break and all things happen. So this is a historic finishes workshop, and it's in the amount of our contribution is in the amount of $1,665.25, and it will take place on September 13th, which is this Saturday. So the historic finishes that are being used in this workshop is linseed oil. Linseed oil is derived from flax, so it's a completely natural product. It was in use for hundreds of years. maybe thousands of years. And so it's unique to in its application. It's an oil, so yeah, it has to be worked into the grain of the wood that you're covering. And so this will be a workshop that teaches interested people within the city and county to how to use it. Any questions about this one?
Pam, I have a question. Every once in a while, you come up with one of these workshops, and I'm into old houses. And I'm just wondering, how many people do you usually have attend this kind of a workshop? Is it like one or two, or is it 50?
Well, it depends, because the more hands-on, that a instructor has to be, the fewer people can be there unless there are multiple
Okay.
instructors. And so I think the last one was topped at like 13 or something like that, because there are more than I think there's 2 or 3 instructors who will be working on this, and so at least 13, maybe more people on this one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Pam, any questions, Andy, Tom?
No.
Okay. Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I would entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Preserve Montana as presented by Stardo.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this contract between Lewis and Clark County and Preserve Montana as presented by Pam Attardo. Is there any further comment from the commission?
Chair Payne,
Andy?
I probably should come to this workshop because I have a cedar house and a wood deck, and I just start at one end and stain, and then I start over again, and I use a ton of linseed oil in my stain.
Yeah.
So
You might
I
want
hope
to.
I'm using it right. But it's wonderful stuff. So
It
thank
is great, just to let you know a story about what we have done in the county with linseed oil paint is that we painted the East Helena Depot a few years ago with a number of volunteers, and it's fantastic. It looks great. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
How long does this kind of finish last? I mean, is it going to be there for 5 years or 25?
10 years or more. I have seen some linseed oil that's over 50 years that it fades, but it doesn't flake off like regular paint. It sinks into the
Wood?
into the wood. Yeah, and it'll dull a little, but then you can just do a clear coat of linseed oil, like just not tinted paint, just clear linseed oil paint, and it'll refresh it and bring back it doesn't have that big sheen, but it has a little, it doesn't look so dull when it dries out, after years.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Thank you.
Tom, do you have anything?
Nothing more. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you
Okay.
all. Appreciate your approval.
Let's see. Did I already ask for public? No, I'll ask. Is there any public comment? Okay. And we already had our motion. Okay. This means it's time to call for a vote. All those in favor of approving action item 3E, the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Preserve Montana, as explained by Pam Attardo, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Now, the time has come for any public comment on any public matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda above.
If I might, Chair Payne?
Tom, by all means.
I would like to take a moment just in light of the political assassination that happened yesterday. Thank the commission, the members of the commission, for the wonderful way we have of being able to disagree without being disagreeable. I remember a civics teacher in high school. I don't recall who he was quoting. He said, "I disagree wholeheartedly with what you have to say, but I will defend until death your right to say it." And somehow in our country, we seem to have lost that, but we've been able to keep it here. We've all three been the one on a 2-to-1 vote. And yet we've been able to move forward and without the acrimony that seems to be other places. And I want to thank the two of you and the people of Lewis and Clark County.
Thank you for those wise words, Tom. Any other public comment? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.